Good day. I am going to talk about controlling aphids, and we're going to get the plant to do its own pest control. You may ask, how is the plant going to do that? Well, they're going to do that by improving their own immune system. The plant has the ability to not have aphids, 0 aphids. Now, as a gardener, how do we help that happen? Well, the plant's going to do photosynthesis. It's a given, right? When I was a kid, I thought photosynthesis is just happening all the time. The plant does it all by itself. Well, apparently they're not doing it all by themselves, and definitely not at 100%. And in fact, we can't get to 100% because of environmental factors. But if we could get to the 60, 70%, even 50%, we would be doing amazing. Because apparently in the United States, most plants are doing photosynthesis. This is the abilities, the capabilities that they can produce sugars closer to 30%. That's right, 30%. Now, if we was running a business and we could only get 30% of the output, yikes, we'd be in big trouble. Well, as gardeners and greenhouse people, we can't see that we're only getting the 30%. So let me explain. When we're looking at the plant, and it appears to be healthy, we think it's probably doing photosynthesis really well. But there's some key indicators that if it is or isn't doing photosynthesis at a high level. First, let me explain the photosynthesis part. I know. Now, we're working off of John Kempf's plant health pyramid, and we're trying to make this as simple as could be so that the everyday gardener or grower can understand it and can go home and apply it. So 1, the plant needs key micronutrients to do photosynthesis. It needs to have the right amount of available water, and it's got to be in kind of a comfort zone of temperature of what the plant needs. And it needs the sun. Most of us can put our gardens or greenhouse somewhere in the sun. Somehow we got to control the temperature a little bit, whether it's putting in sunflowers or a windbreak in a garden situation to control the temperature some in the wind, or in the greenhouse where we're ventilating using fans and such. So we got that taken care of, applying the right amount of water. So we check the soil before we water. Water is needed. From here on out, the plant is going to need key micronutrients to do photosynthesis and do photosynthesis well. And we're talking about at the level 1 of the plant health pyramid. The micronutrients that plant needs is magnesium, manganese, phosphorus, iron, and a little bit of nitrogen. But please, please do not add nitrogen. You have enough nitrogen with your microbes. We don't need to add more, because that causes big problems. That will be in a different video as to we don't need to be adding the nitrogen. So you're going to add magnesium, manganese, phosphorus, iron. Those are the 4 that you're going to need to help the plant do photosynthesis. At level 2 of the plant health pyramid, we're going to need to add zinc, sulfur, molybdenum, and boron. And that is helping the plant convert nitrogen to amino acids to make complete proteins. Between the 2 of those things, doing photosynthesis well and converting to complete proteins, the plant then is doing photosynthesis well enough that the sap that it's creating cannot be digested by simple sap-eating insects, such as an aphid. There's a host of all others, but we're just talking about aphids today, that will be controlled by just adding those micronutrients and having your plants have availability of those micronutrients. Now the iron, you're going to say, wow, on a soil report, I've got gobs of iron. That's true, but that iron is not in available form for the plant to use. So you'll find if you add iron, you're going to get a bigger plant response. When this plant is completing the proteins, the sap it creates, an aphid cannot digest. So they won't even go on that plant. They won't touch that plant. That's how I have this greenhouse right here behind me with 98% aphid free. That's right, 98% aphid free. I don't want 100% aphid free because I need those aphids to be able to keep balance in the greenhouse, to keep lacewings, lady beetles, and black wasp, all beneficial insects, in my system. If I had 0 aphids, those 3 things wouldn't have a food source, or the black wasp depends on the aphid for its life cycle. So we don't want 100%. What you want is balance, but you do want to keep track of what's going on, right? We don't want to have aphids start attacking, and as you know, when they do attack, they can explode in huge numbers very, very fast. We don't want that. I use indicator plants to tell what's going on in the greenhouse. For example, Calendula. We're picking it constantly from the first blooms all the way through the season. We're picking it. We dry those flowers and use them for soaps and salves. Super, super healthy for the skin. We'll also put it in teas. So we're processing those continuously. So we're continuously deadheading these plants. So as the season goes along, that's a little stressful on an annual, because its only job in life is to reproduce. And we're not allowing it to reproduce. So it gets stressed. Stress is the number one thing that's going to bring in aphids. So when this plant gets stressed from working too hard, it's using up too much of its resources, its sap quality drops, and then the aphids can eat the plant. And they get on the plant really fast. The second that sap drops in quality, the aphids attack. So we use this Calendula to monitor the greenhouse. So we'll go through the greenhouse. We'll check the obvious plants like the kale and peppers for aphids. But we'll check the Calendula. If the Calendula has aphids, then we need to pay attention to what's going on. Is the greenhouse too hot? Are the plants not getting enough water? Do we need to apply micronutrients? Those things need answered. If you have enough water and the temperature is okay, then you do need to add the micronutrients to help the plant do photosynthesis better. As you add the micronutrients, you have a 24-hour photosynthesis period for that plant to cycle those nutrients. And it can happen very fast. If you only have a few aphids and the plant has just stopped producing photosynthesis at a higher rate, it'll respond very quick. And the aphids will drop right off. They cannot digest the complete proteins that the plant's making. It's that simple. Now, we'll check the other plants. Like, for instance, this kale has a couple aphid mummies on it. Mummies are indicators that the black wasp has already laid their eggs in it and is taking care of that population of aphids. Other indicators are we have a lot of lacewings and a lot of lady beetles in the greenhouse. All right, they have to eat something. So we tolerate aphids. And where are we tolerating the aphids? On the weeds. The weeds in here are getting attacked by aphids horrendously. So that's given those beneficial insects a food source. And we offer plenty of flowers and lots of diversity of flowers to take care of the pollinating insects. Give them a food source and a place to live. Diversity is one of the keys to your success of these plants being super healthy. We kind of go with Dr. Christine Jones's ideas on diversity, and the more diversity we can get, the healthier the whole greenhouse becomes. So our goal is to have 5 different plant families, not only just in the greenhouse, but preferably in each bed. So, for example, in this bed there's tomatoes. That's one plant family. There's nasturtiums, a different plant family. There is some herbs in there, which is a different plant family. And there's borage in there. So we're getting up there for 4 plant families in this particular bed. In this herbal bed, there is more than 5 because we can get into woodier plants. In the flower beds, they're probably more predominantly not 5 families because we don't have any woody herbs in those beds. But We have 20 beds in this greenhouse, and so amongst all of them, there's enough diversity. We want diversity for the microbes, because each plant brings its own set of microbes. Each plant is feeding rhodexodates, that is excess sugar coming off the plant, into the root system to feed the microbes, to get the microbes to do the mineralization for the plant. And when that's happening at a high rate, that plant is doing 60-70% photosynthesis, the plant starts to get excess sugars. And so when it does that, they start getting fat. Yes, they produce fat. Fat and lipids, and as soon as it does that, and you can see the lipids, the fat layer on the leaves, such as on this broccoli. Easy to see on broccoli and kale, that whole family, they put on fats really fast. But if you're having cabbage moths or flea beetles attacking the Brachysis family, they are not producing the fats. You've got to get the plant healthy enough, its immune system big enough, the microbe population strong enough and diverse enough, and then the plant is going to be producing excess. When it does, it has these lipids, and not even a flea beetle can handle it. And your moths will have nothing to do with that set of plants. They will go to the neighbors, somewhere else. You could plant a trap crop, like for instance radishes, to draw those moths and flea beetles to the radishes. That works, but you still have to have your target plants healthy enough that their immune system's high enough that they're not going to get the aphids. Pretty cool, huh? Well, I don't want the video to get too long. I hope that you can understand the concept, that we get the plant healthy enough, it can do its own defense system. When it's not doing photosynthesis well enough, the plant is actually sending out chemicals that draws the insect pests, especially aphid, to the plant. Because the aphids and the insects are part of nature's mop-up crew. When that plant starts signaling I'm not doing well and my immune system is low, the aphids are going to attack. So, as a gardener, we're going to keep track of the water, the temperature, reducing stress, adding micronutrients as needed to help that plant do photosynthesis better. We can see it's doing photosynthesis really better when it starts creating the fat layer on its leaves. When that happens, it's just like totally fun, because you're not going to have aphids, you're not going to have pests, and you are now going to be eating nutritious, nutrient-dense foods that taste amazing. That's the goal, right? I'm going to talk about the nitrogen in a future video because it has so much to do with so many things going wrong that we've self-induced. But for now, I want you to have lots of luck and happy growing. See ya!